Let's start this video off with a really easy idea. I'm going to take some construction paper, fold it in half, and use my cutter to cut it in half. Then from there, I'm going to just roughly cut it into thirds. What these are going to create is rough squares. They're not perfectly square, it's totally fine, but these are going to be like pixels because a lot of the old-timey games obviously were very pixelated looking because the graphics weren't as good as they are now. So here I'm going to put some tape on them. I actually think that masking tape works better than Scotch tape. It's super easy to make things like the Pacman ghost, or even just throw random pixels up on the wall. I also like this one because it takes up a lot of wall space very quickly. These pixels or paper plates also work great for making a Tetris wall. For this next project, I needed some cardboard, so I just unfolded a cardboard box and I'm going to cut out a rectangle in whatever size I need. So I'm just cutting out the flaps here, and then I'm going to measure it against some paper plates, but I'm going to hang on to these scraps of cardboard because they come in handy later on. So I've got my paper plates. I'm just going to kind of size it, cut off the excess with my X-Acto knife. An X-Acto knife is really helpful to cut through cardboard or like a razor blade because you can make some slits and then come back through with the scissors. So your options are you can either paint this, or like I'm doing, I'm just going to cover it in white paper. If you have white wrapping paper, that would also be a really quick way to cover it. While I'm waiting on my glue gun to heat up, I'm going to draw the outlets onto my plate. So I just kind of freehanded this and filled them in with a Sharpie, but you could totally get a piece of paper and cut out a stencil so that way they're exactly even every time. But now that my glue gun's ready, I'm going to glue these pieces of paper on to make a white background. I'm going to glue the plates on, and then I will have this awesome oversized jumbo wall outlet. I'm also going to glue this other piece of cardboard on the back just because it came from a box, so it's got a bit of a bend, so it's just going to give it some extra stability. We're really throwing it back to old school now here. So we're going to make an Atari controller using a box, a paper plate, some tubing, and just some paint. So I'm going to tape these two together. I also put a piece of paper covering the top, but I didn't film that because it was kind of a disaster when I was doing that. But I just put a piece of paper over the top of my cardboard tube so that way I could paint it. So I'm going to paint my cardboard tube, paint the plate, and then I'm going to let them dry, which you should be painting on a good surface, not the carpet like I was. Anyways, as you can see, I put an extra piece of cardboard to fill in that space on the box, and now I'm covering it with black construction paper. I'm notching the corners here, and then I'm going to fold it over and tape it flat. If you don't want to use construction paper, you can get black wrapping paper and wrap it basically like a jumbo Christmas present. Once I finish getting my pieces glued on here, I'm going to work on creating a button. So for the button, I'm going to grab a red Solo cup and I am going to cut the bottom off of it, make it nice and smooth, and we will glue it onto there. Next, I'm going to take my plate once it's dry and I'm going to cut off the outer rim, and then with that kind of flat part of the paper plate, I'm going to just spiral it. Just a rough spiral, it doesn't have to be perfect, but this is going to be the part that goes around the controller that kind of moves, if you will. So we're going to glue our big handle on there, and then we're going to slide the paper plate spiral over the handle. You'll need to cut a little bit off the middle. I kind of played around, did several cuts, but that way you'll be able to get it to fit over your paper tube controller stick. And then I'm going to slide it on down. Now the trick here is you're going to take this and kind of twist it up on itself, if you will, and that's what's going to give it that 3D effect and hold the spiral in place. So I'm going to glue the top part in with some hot glue, then I'm going to twist it and kind of layer it as I want it to look, and then I will glue down the other end, and then my handle and controller part itself will be assembled. The last thing I want to do here is I'm going to make the cord that it plugs into. So here I'm using yarn, just doubling it back and forth. It's going to tie a knot in either end. Of course, you could use just a piece of string, a piece of rope, or you could skip the cord part completely. I just like the cord because I feel like, it gives it a more authentic feel. So once I get my cord here ready, I'm going to go to the side of the box and I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to punch a hole in it. Then I'm going to use the end of my X-Acto knife with the cap covered, obviously, and I'm going to push my cord through the back of the box, and it's just going to hold it right in there. And of course you can make this longer. Mine was really short just for demonstration's sake. But now you've got a fun jumbo Atari controller. If we can ignore the camera not focusing for these next 10 seconds, I'll explain this fun idea. So you wouldn't be doing this on a little piece of paper. You'd be either doing this on the floor or on the wall, but just get some masking tape or some packing tape, duct tape, whatever you want, and make a jumbo Pacman board. This is a really sad looking Pacman board. If you so desire, you can also tape down dots. Because this is a Power Up VBS, we obviously need a source of power. What better than a jumbo extension power cord? So I've got a box here. I'm not bothering painting this one because I just didn't feel like it. And I've got these other pieces of cardboard that I cut out. So I'm going to glue these two long flat ones with my hot glue gun along the top. And those are going to be like the top prongs of an outlet plug, if you will. And I'm just gluing those on there with some hot glue. This one's about to fall over, so if you're having problems with things falling over, you can set some items beside it, like I set this thing of paint beside it. Then I'm just going to glue this little triangle piece on there, hold it all in place. Of course, again, you can paint this, it would look way better painted, but this is just for demonstration's sake. Then to create the cord, I just grabbed a pool noodle. You can just set it in the back there, and it looks pretty cool, I think. Talk about easy. So this one I inside outed a box and then just retaped it together. If you don't want to do that, you can just cover a box in butcher paper, but really simple. I'm just drawing this brickwork on it so it looks like a Mario block, you know, that he hits coins out of. Really simple. You can do a bunch of those, and I just use the Sharpie to add the detail. Then we're going to do another Mario style block here. This is going to be a question block. So we just taped it closed, and here we're using some double-sided tape, and we're just going to tape down this yellow construction paper. Again, you can paint it. You can get some jumbo wrapping paper that's yellow and wrap it like a jumbo present. That might be easier. Whatever floats your boat, however you want to tackle it. But the idea is we're making it yellow, and then we're going to add some question marks on it. Now you only have to do 5 of the 6 sides because one of the sides is going to be sitting on the floor. So that's really nice. Just a thought if you want to save a little bit of time. So here we're just freehanding these question marks on here. You could print out a question mark on a piece of white paper and cut it out and glue it down, or you can create a template however you want to do it. We just freehanded it because it was easy. Alright, some more Mario stuff. We're going to make some Mario fire flowers and ice flowers. This one was very just kind of haphazard. I cut out a big oval in my first color, a smaller oval in my next color, and a smallest oval in my white. Then I stacked them up with a little bit of tape, drew on the eyes, and colored them in. Again, I was just kind of really slap them together, and even though they're not completely even, they still look super cute. For this next part, I'm going to create some leaves. So I'm going to fold my paper into thirds and then fold it in half, and this is going to let me cut out 6 leaves all at once. That's a great idea when you're working on VBS decorations, is to try to do as many steps for the project as you can. So if you can tackle more than one of these items in the same step, definitely do that. For the stalks for these flowers, I have some scraps of cardboard. Remember, I said don't throw them out, and I'm just painting them green. Then we're going to tape it all together, glue it all together, however you want to fasten it. Really simple. We're going to add the leaves at the bottom. And then when it's all said and done, you'll have these cool fire flowers and ice flowers that you can put on the wall or wherever you want them to go. One more Mario idea for you in the same kind of vein as the fire flower and ice flower. We're going to make a piranha plant. So the piranha plants are usually found inside of some green pipe. So I'm cutting out some pieces of cardboard here, taping them together, and I'm going to paint them green to be the green pipe. I'm also going to paint another piece of cardboard green to be the stem for my piranha plant. To make the piranha plant itself, again, I'm just going to kind of throw this together like I did with the fire flowers. It doesn't have to be perfect. Cut out a big circle and notch a face in it, kind of like a big red Pacman. Then we're just going to kind of freehand with the white paper. We're going to create the details. So we've got the mouth. We're just going to tape that on there just once it's sized right. Add it on there. You can always trim it down more if you decide. We're going to cut out some dots. Again, just tape them together. Pretty simple, not too hard, and not too much materials or effort. We're also going to get some leaves, and then once we have all our pieces, we will assemble them together. Whew, that was a mouthful. I'll give a shout out to Beck Pie from Beck Pie's Slice of Life here. Go check out her channel. She just posted a new video on making DIY lip balm. I thought it was pretty cool, and I think you'd probably enjoy it too. But anyway, she's the one assembling these, so kudos to her for helping me with this. Alright, let's make an arcade, because I've got a pocket full of quarters. So I've got my X-Acto knife and scissors, and I have a jumbo box. I'm going to start cutting out the side, and I'm going to basically create it so it's kind of square. So I'm notching out the front, and I'm basically kind of unfolding it, if you will. I'm just cutting along the bottom, so that way this piece can unfold. Then I'm going to notch it down on the right side the same amount as I did on the left. And I'm just using my X-Acto knife again for this, just kind of roughly even. And now I'll be able to fold that middle part in. Of course, that's too short for the actual arcade unit, so we've got a little bit more work to go, but I'm just going to fold that up out of the way. And now with the rest of it, I'll be able to fold it over. Of course, I've got a lot of excess here, so once I have it folded up and measured, I'm going to cut the excess off. So here you can see what I've got so far. I'll fold it back up there. And now we need to start getting it to stay together. I'm using some duct tape in a bright color, and I really like assembling it with duct tape in a bright color because that's half of the decorations for this. You don't need to do a whole lot more as far as decorating and upgrading the arcade, although I'll show you some tips on that later on. So I like to go around the bottom, up the sides, because it both adds support and durability, but it also adds a lot of cool color. So I'm going to fold the front down because that's where we're going to have the opening, again going around the sides, over the top, just everywhere that needs to be taped together. We're going to tape it together, and of course Beck Pie is helping me here again. Now with my extra scraps of cardboard that I cut off the box, I'm going to cut out a lid and tape that down. Then we need to cut a part that's going to be the screen. I'm going to do kind of an angled back screen that goes in there. So I'm going to get a piece of cardboard that's the width. Here I realized I needed to make it a little bit shorter in the front in the opening, so that way you could actually see inside to the arcade screen. But I'm going to make sure that it's the correct width, and then I'm going to cut it the length I need. Again, I'm going to go ahead and use some tape in here. This part can be a little tricky, so I suggest that you have someone help you and that you push from the back and the outside of it, because if you're just pushing straight down, you may accidentally push your screen piece all the way down into the cardboard box. So we're going to get this piece taped in there. Okay, and we forgot to tape the front of the lid, my bad. But we're just going to keep adding that tape on there. And again, you can go as crazy or as simple with the tape. I really like it because as you can see, it's already making the box look really cool, even though all we've done is just kind of change the shape and structure of the box. Next, I'm going to make the buttons. For this, I'm using a solo cup. The bottom of it, I'm cutting out a circle. You can make it as small or big as you want. You could even use a bottle cap for this. Then I'm going to get a piece of black construction paper or black board, and I'm going to glue that on down there, or you could hot glue it. I just use tacky glue. Next, we're going to make the handle for the arcade, the joystick. So I'm going to deflate a balloon, or you could just start with the balloon, and I'm going to take a paper towel, wad it up into a ball, and shove it inside the balloon. Grab a pencil. We're going to pull the balloon with the paper towel inside of it over the top of the pencil, and we're just going to take some masking tape and go around and around and tape it into place. It looks really wonky, but you can kind of shape it. That's the nice part, so you can make it as round and as nice looking as you want. To cover up the masking tape, I just got an orange Sharpie, and I'm covering that up. We're going to make the bottom plate of it with a solo cut bottom, and I just punched a hole through it with my X-Acto knife. I also punched a hole in the arcade with an X-Acto knife, and now I can feed my joystick all the way through. So if you've got Pac-Man fever, this one's for you. For one of our last projects for this theme, I'm going to show you one of my favorite ideas, which is using a projector to make some easy, super easy trace and cutouts. So I just went on my computer. For some shapes, you can just use shapes inside a Word document. So I'm going to make a star, like, a Mario Power Up star. And so I just need a star shape. I'm saying star a lot here. Anyways, I'm projecting it onto some butcher paper, and I am tracing it out with a Sharpie. I'm going to do the same thing with a mushroom. Some tips for when you're tracing this out. So I'm tracing on a cardboard box. Obviously, you want to have a good surface behind you, so I actually recommend doing this on the wall. But if you're tracing on the wall with your Sharpie on top of butcher paper, it will bleed through the paper and get in your walls. I speak from experience. So no matter where you decide to trace, make sure you put something behind you. Once you finish tracing it out, I like to go over it again and just kind of even out my lines a little bit. Then I'm going to paint it, and it makes things look super awesome once you get them painted. I've got a jumbo controller here as well. And then once I paint it, I like to retrace everything with the Sharpie. That just makes things really crisp and clear, and it hides all your paint mistakes. So that's really nice. Once I get them painted, it's time to cut them out, and you can do whatever you want with these. As you'll see in the end, I actually put these on the arcade unit, which is a super cool idea, which I know, there's not like Mario themed arcade units, but it's a super easy way to upgrade your arcade. You can also do projections and trace outs directly on the arcade unit, paint them, color them in, and that's a super cool idea. Last idea is a little bit hard to illustrate, but the idea is we're going to cover lights with tablecloths. If you've got a window, you can hang it in front of a window. But I kind of think this more as hanging from the ceiling, especially if you have big panel lighting. Let's check out these finished results. So I've got the tablecloth in front of my light, so you kind of get the idea. I think it's fun because it adds just that kind of colorful, power-up, playful ambience to the whole project. and I think everything all together looks super awesome. So I hope that you enjoyed these. If you are going to be trying any of these projects, let me know in the comments below which is your favorite one. If you're not doing Power Up VBS, or if you just want more fun VBS DIY decoration ideas, I'm going to be coming out with some more videos over the next few days, next couple of weeks, so make sure you check those out. Also, don't forget to check out my video that I posted on how to decorate for any VBS theme. This video is a great example of some of the things I talk about in that video, so you might want to check that out as well. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure you come back for more awesome videos on Craft is Autonomous. Happy crafting, you guys!